Madame la ministre Koné, ministre de l'Éducation nationale et de l'alphabétisation de la Côte d'Ivoire, Mrs. Barrels, Commissioner for Foreign Cultural Policy at the Federal Foreign Office in Germany, Mr. Annan, Member of Parliament and Parliamentary State Secretary to the Federal Minister for Economic Cooperation and Development in Germany, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As director of the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning, it is my pleasure to welcome you all at this celebration of the 70th anniversary of the Institute here in Hamburg. I would like also to extend a special welcome to all the hundreds of participants who are with us today throughout the world online. A short technical note to start this afternoon. Before we begin, please note that the meeting is interpreted in English, French, Spanish, and German. So headsets are available for those who are here at the room. For those who are online, you also need to select on your screen the language that you prefer. So to open this special celebration, we will start immediately with our first speaker. And I'm happy to welcome here in Hamburg, Mrs. Stefania Giannini, UNESCO Assistant Director General of UNESCO for Education. Stefania, please, you have the floor.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, ich freue mich, hier zu sein. I'm very pleased, very happy to be together with all of you in Hamburg to celebrate an important anniversary, the 70th anniversary of the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning, that holds a very unique place within the UN system. This institute, as many of you know for sure, created just 5 years after the founding of UNESCO itself, was pioneering in very many ways. It enshrined UNESCO commitment for sure to build peace and international understanding by advancing the right to education as the world was emerging from the devastation of the Second World War. And the choice of Germany as host country in and of itself reflected our organization's commitment to reconciliation through fostering solidarity and collaboration. And this is quite captured by UIL founding mandate, namely to establish, and I quote, contacts between educators in Germany and other countries without prejudice arising from national, racial, or cultural differences, and to participate in the work of UNESCO to maintain peace in the world and to carry out educational programs for international understanding. I would say this is a powerful testament of peace, quite timely, quite important, especially in these troubled times. And from the start, the Institute advocated a vision of education that is somehow emancipatory and transformative, one that develops the whole person. Let me quote from a great Italian pedagogue, Maria Montessori, who was in the governing board of the very first, governing board of UIL, quoting, "If the Institute is justified in existing, then it's only in pioneering new path for education. That is to say, one for education as a support to the inner life. The school should not be the objective of this institute, but people, the whole person. And this person begins at birth." And we know the story of Maria Montessori and the widespread methodology now still very much running in the world. Well, this lifelong vision has become all the more indispensable in the face of rapid, disruptive change a kind of uncertainty and complexity we are facing now. It's a vision anchored in the right to education throughout life, regardless of age, regardless of background or circumstances. It's reflected in the United Nations 2030 agenda with the goal on education that openly, explicitly refers to promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all. The UIL contributes substantively to creating a veritable culture of lifelong learning throughout supporting countries across the world in providing learning opportunities for all, especially for youth and adults. Through the network of learning cities that now counts some almost 300 in 76 countries, reflecting new approaches to acquiring and sharing knowledge. Through the International Conference for Adult Learning and Education, what we call Confintea, which is an intergovernmental process, the last one, the seventh one, which has been held recently in Marrakesh, in Morocco. And the Marrakesh Framework for Action adopted there puts forward a vision and a roadmap, a vision of adult learning and education that is transformative, once again, transformative for individuals, economies, and societies. And transformation is actually what we need now when it comes to politics, when it comes to social commitment, when it comes to other public sectors. When it comes to education, the transformation is really something which has to do with knowledge, skills, and competencies for citizenship, for jobs, and for life. This transformation is part of building a new social contract for education. This is the message coming out from the quite recent report on the futures of education that the International Commission hosted by UNESCO just released a couple of years ago, and which is an ambitious agenda to change, to transform society through education. And this is the message of the Transforming Education Summit convened by the Secretary General of the UN quite recently in New York. It's something that UNESCO is very much on the front line to lead, to coordinate, and that generated unprecedented political capital with some 133 countries' commitment and statements for change. There is a sense of urgency in all these initiatives. That's maybe the red line I wish to highlight today with us. And education, a sense of urgency, why? Because education is failing, unfortunately. It's failing too many children, too many youth, too many adults. And as the 5th global report on adult learning and education highlighted recently, those who need adult learning programs the most are missing out. Indigenous people, rural populations, migrants, people with disabilities, prisoners, and I'm happy to share with you that UIL is running a program for prisoners in this city of Hamburg, just to give you a concrete example of the impact on the ground. If we are to address inequalities, which is our mission at UNESCO and our mission, I'm sure, in this shared mission in this room, if we are to strengthen social cohesion, if we are to steer the green and the digital transitions, one of the main two ambitious part of the agenda that governments have to develop in the coming months and years, if all this is part of our common mission, then individuals need the possibility to learn throughout life. This is the simple message. This is the investment, this is the political engagement that we have to take all together. And I wish to express deep appreciation to UIL's host country, the Federal Republic of Germany, for its continued support to such a vision, and to the free and the Hanseatic city of Hamburg. His mayor is with us today. Thanks for that, for providing the premises and for its active engagement in the global network of learning cities. Well, access to education throughout life is simply a matter of human dignity. As we move into the new decade, David, of UIL, I call on member states and other partners on behalf of UNESCO to reaffirm their commitment, their engagement to the Institute, so that together we can make really lifelong learning a reality. I wish to conclude quoting a nice phrase from an Indian educator seated in UIL's compelling 70 celebration exhibition. I believe learning begins and ends with life, which implies that there is no life without learning. No life without learning is our cause, is our common mission. Happy anniversary. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stefania. No life without learning. Indeed, I mean, this is our vision. This is also our motivation at UIL, but also for our many partners throughout the world. It is now my honor to welcome Mr. Peter Tschentscher, the first mayor of the free and aesthetic city of Hamburg, and also a learning city, a UNESCO learning city. Before giving you the floor, Mr. Mayor, I would like to thank you again, as already Mrs. Giannini did, for all the support provided by the city of Hamburg. We could not think of a more beautiful place and a more welcoming, place to host the Institute. So thanks again for all your support. And now it's my honor to give you the floor.
Dear Assistant Director General Giannini, State Secretary Kennan, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear Director Adguarina, thank you for the invitation to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning. When the free and hanseatic city of Hamburg became the seat of the Institute in 1952, it was a special honor for us. Germany has had joined UNESCO only the year before. The founding of several UNESCO centers around the country marked the end of Germany's international isolation after World War II. The citizens of Hamburg had just given themselves a new constitution that included the mission to promote peace and understanding between the peoples of the world. This was a callback to the strong Hanseatic tradition of international cooperation and a promise for the future. With its commitment to human rights and international understanding, the UNESCO Institute for Education, as it was called, helped to re-establish democratic and liberal values. From day one, Hamburg has supported the Institute in every way, like Hamburg's former mayor, Max Brauer, had promised in a telegram to the Director General of UNESCO. This also includes the provision of offices, first at Feldbrunnenstraße and since 1978 at the Villa Ballin. Albert Ballin was the influential CEO of Hapag-Lloyd, one of the world's largest shipping companies, and he was a firm believer in international dialogue. He left behind a cosmopolitan legacy and the house that has now been the home of the UNESCO Institute for almost 45 years. Albert Ballin used to say, "Mein Feld ist die Welt." The world is my field. This concept of feeling at home in the world fits well with the global mission of the UNESCO Institute. In its early years, the geographic focus was on Europe. Today, people all over the world benefit from its activities and from its focus on lifelong learning. As the world faces complex challenges like climate protection or digitalization, all of us need to become active agents of change. In Hamburg, we are committed to the Sustainable Development Goals and to the concept of education for sustainable development. We are creating learning opportunities for people of every generation. Since 2019, Hamburg is a member of the UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities. In November, the Institute will host a meeting of all German partner cities here in Hamburg. Ladies and gentlemen, Hamburg is proud to be the seat of the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning. For the past 70 years, with its great expertise and far-reaching networks, the Institute has been shaping international education policy. As one of 3 international organizations based in Hamburg, the Institute is an important representative of our city in the international community. On behalf of the Senate, I would like to congratulate on your 70th anniversary. I wish the team at the Institute much success in the future and a nice celebration tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for such warm words. We very much look forward to continue with very rich and also, I would say, friendly cooperation between the Institute and the city of Hamburg. It is now my pleasure to welcome Mrs. Anna Bartels, Commissioner for Foreign Cultural Policy in the Federal Foreign Office of Germany. The Foreign Office has been a strong partner of the Institute since its founding, and we are highly grateful for its continuous and strong support. Mrs. Bartels, thanks for joining us online today. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, I can't be in Hamburg. I have to be in Berlin. But dear Professor Giannini, dear Minister Cornet, lieber Herr Tschentscher, lieber Nils Annen, dear David Adkurena, dear staff members of UIL, and ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to join you for today's ceremony to mark the 70th anniversary of the founding of this institute, formerly the UNESCO Institute of Education, and today known as the UNESCO Institute of Lifelong Learning in Hamburg. I would like to convey the greetings and best wishes from Minister of State Katja Keul, who unfortunately will not be able to attend due to other obligations. The Federal Foreign Office has always been following the activities and programs of UIL over its long history closely and with great interest. We're well aware of the valuable contributions the Institute has provided to further the development of the concept of lifelong learning in accordance with the Global Sustainable Development Goals. We're therefore glad to be able to regularly support the work of UIL, not only financially, together with other member states and partners from all over the world. As the host country of UIL, we feel a special obligation towards the continued success of the Institute as part of our strong engagement for multilateralism. When the former UNESCO Institute of Education was founded in Hamburg in 1951, Europe had just emerged from World War II, and Germany, by then still divided, took its first steps back into the global community of civilized states. Since then, for more than 7 decades, our continent enjoyed a period of peace and worked successfully together towards the fulfillment of the idea of a unified Europe. That has changed abruptly. These days, we see Russia waging an unjustifiable and illegal war of aggression against Ukraine. Russia has violated the UN Charter and other fundamental principles of international law. This war has cost the lives of thousands of people and severely destroyed schools, universities, museums, and heritage sites. The executive board of UNESCO has firmly and overwhelmingly denounced in the strongest terms this aggression. Solidarity with Ukraine and its people is huge within UNESCO and among the people in Germany and many other countries all over the world. In particular, as regards providing humanitarian relief and welcoming Ukrainian refugees, education of Ukrainian children, the safety of Ukrainian women and families, and the protection of cultural property. At the same time, urgent challenges to our planet, in particular climate change and the loss of biodiversity, have lost nothing of their urgency, and we will need to continuously address them. Reaching the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations by 2030, among them SDG 4, is a tough challenge ahead and requires even more effort in the coming years. The UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning is at the forefront of these efforts in the field of education. It had prepared the World Conference in Marrakesh this year. It coordinates and supports the global network of UNESCO learning cities all over the world. And with its research work, capacity building programs, and monitoring activities, helps member states, especially in Africa, to manage the challenges to their educational systems and to promote lifelong learning in the post-pandemic period. Let me thank once again the whole UIL family, the staff members, the governing board, the UNESCO Secretariat in Paris, and all partners for their incredible work in the last 70 years. I wish the Institute for the future every success and can assure you that Germany as host country and the Federal Foreign Office will always be on your side and ready to support in any way necessary. Happy birthday, UIL. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Bartel, for the congratulatory remarks, and once again for your continued support. I'm happy now to introduce Mr. Niels Annen, Member of Parliament and also Parliamentary State Secretary to the Federal Minister for Economic Cooperation and Development here in Germany. Mr. Annen is UIL is located in your electoral district here in Hamburg, and we are very thankful for your support and all the attention you pay to the work of the Institute. Also for your role, formerly as a member of the previous government as a Minister of State in the Foreign Office, and now in your role as State Secretary at BMZ. So thanks again, Mr. Annen, and I'm happy to give you the floor.
Well, thank you very much, Director, Assistant Director, and of course, First Mayor, lieber Peter, ladies and gentlemen. It's really a pleasure, and I want to congratulate you and your entire team, everybody who has contributed to that success story. And a lot has already been said, so I think you agree that I don't need to repeat that, but maybe I can just pick on one aspect. I think we all are witnesses of a very challenging time, especially for democracies. And our colleague from the Foreign Office has been speaking about Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine and the impact it's having on the people of Ukraine. But I would say in a more general sense on the willingness and ability of the international community to cooperate in the implementation of the SDGs. And it's not only SDG 4. We have been falling behind, and we lost a lot of the mutual success that we made in crucial steps towards development and cooperation. And we are in the midst not only of a global conflict, we are in the midst of a massive transformation leading towards a CO2 neutral way of living and producing. And I think if you only take that aspect, the question of ability of our societies to deal with new technologies, to implement new policies, but also to have the ability to reflect and to interact in a democratic way. that all shows how important the question of education and lifelong learning is. So I believe, Director, the work that you and your team are conducting has never been as important as it is today. And as you kindly mentioned, I'm here not only being invited as a parliamentary state secretary and for us education and the Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development has always been very important, and we support the Marrakesh framework. But I'm also taking the liberty to speak here as a member elected in that beautiful district of Hamburg-Eimsbüttel, and our mayor talked about Villa Balin. And so we are very happy that you are here. And I think that the people of Hamburg are also benefiting from the services and the ability that this institute is offering. And the library is not only offering services to the prison population, which is a very important aspect, of course, but also for people who are not in prison. So you should feel invited. And I thank you very much. And I wish all of us a very happy celebration in challenging times. Herzlichen Dank.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anand, for these warm words. And again, we look forward to our continued cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure now to take you all on a journey through the history of the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning and a travel across the world to actually meet various speakers from different regions of the world. The work of our institute have evolved, around different topics, throughout the decades. And this is something that you can actually observe if you look at the exhibition, which is available here in the hall of this building, but also, of course, online for our many participants who are with us virtually. For today, we have selected 3 important topics for the work of the Institute, and we would like to actually present our work through testimonies from various partners around the world. So those 3 topics are literacy, adult education, and learning cities. We heard already about this concept. I would like to start, with this the first topic on literacy, and we would like to introduce you to this line of work of the Institute through a video. Thank you. l'Afrique est une priorité pour l'UNESCO.
Africa is a priority for all of UNESCO, and of course this also goes for our institute and many of our programs address Africa. And it's a great pleasure for me to welcome Ms. Mariatou Koni, the Minister for National Education and Literacy of Côte d'Ivoire. Minister, Côte d'Ivoire is a long-standing partner of the Institute, and we have cooperated in important moments when it came to the development of education in Côte d'Ivoire. Right now, you are very much committed in the Global Alliance for Literacy, but also in the Rama program that was mentioned in the video. So, Minister, it's a pleasure for me to welcome you and to hand you the floor. Hello, everybody. General Director of the UNESCO, Ms. Giannini, dear partners of the UIL, Director of the Institute, UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning, my dear David Acharina, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to participate in the celebration of this anniversary. And I would like to seize the occasion of this 70th anniversary, honor the nobility of its mission, of this institute that is specialized in and has always very much valued learning for everybody. I would like to say that it is an honor for me and for Côte d'Ivoire and its educating community to pay tribute to you. There are many things that we have in common, but among them 50 years of a good cooperation between UIL and Côte d'Ivoire. We are proud of that. And there are a lot of emotions involved. There are some testimonials that we are going to show. First of all, we have participated in the International Conference on Adult Learning. That was Confinter 3, that took place 1972 in Tokyo, and the 7th one, where I was present myself, in 2022 in Marrakesh. The participation in these conferences allows us to change perspective and to take into account different texts and procedures that help to have a different perspective on adult education in Côte d'Ivoire. It has helped to develop our capacities. For instance, in the framework of the Action Research to Measure Literacy Program, participants' learning outcomes, RAMA. We are now in the 2nd phase, and we try to get reliable indicators of these outcomes. Côte d'Ivoire is involved in the Global Alliance for Literacy, and we are right now serving as co-presidents there. And I would also like to stress the fact that a city of Côte d'Ivoire is part of the global network, Ouaké. It's the first city of a country that has been admitted, and we hope that there will be many more to follow. Vice President of UNESCO, ladies and gentlemen, we are very happy to have this cooperation in many aspects, and I would like to congratulate the entire team of UIL for the remarkable work that has allowed the institutional evolution when it comes to education and to do capacity building in the context of adult learning in Côte d'Ivoire. We will continue this cooperation in order to better take on board the education of young and adult learners. I would like to thank you very much. I wish you great success when it comes to further develop lifelong learning. Thank you very much, and happy birthday, UIL.
Merci, Madame Koné. Merci, Madame la
Thank you very much, Minister. We are really happy to continue this long-standing cooperation, as you have said, very fruitful cooperation with Côte d'Ivoire and in particular with your ministry.
video message from Mr. Charles Muwangala, who is the head teacher and manager of the Sunflower Literacy Group in Kurugu in Uganda. Charles participated in one of UIL's training programs on the family learning, and this set up an impressive literacy group for grandmothers in the rural region of Kirugu in Uganda. Charles is connected with us live today, but because of the internet connection, we recorded his message and included also testimonial from 2 learners. So we're going to play this video. Charles, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. Congratulations to UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning on anniversary celebrations. In 2020, I and other 3 teachers from the Sunflower Project attended online course on film. After we started the 2 Sunflower Grandmothers Literacy Project, each with 20 members. Impact. After 1.5 years, I am happy to report that the grandmothers can read and write stories. Grandmothers can speak in public. Grandmothers are now coming to school as caregivers to these children in our classes. Grandmothers have initiated a nursery commanded by themselves. Grandmothers can now take the voters' slip to exercise their democracy. Grandmothers can write their own stories, sent to Poland in New Zealand, then Poland publishes them into books. They are sent back to us through post office for them to read as a reading material. Grandmothers can now do the reading in the churches. Grandmothers can now take on roles within the community as leaders. Grandmothers can now read the description on drugs as explained by the doctors. After that, we are so grateful for the support from UNESCO, supporting the grandmothers to read and write. We call upon more support from UNESCO to see that these grandmothers can go on with the reading and the writing. Thanks so much. I remain Charles Muwanga, Sunflower Project in Uganda. Thank you so much.
My name is Anna. I am 71 years old. I am married. I have 6 children. My parents had no money to take me to school. I joined Sunflower's grandmother's classes. Now I can read and write. I can speak the voted series.
My name is Mariam. I live in Uganda, Sunflower Project literacy. These are the following achievements we've gained from our learning. We can read and write. We can speak English in public. We have gained confidence. We can talk to our grandchildren. We have learned how to protect and keep time. We go to school as caregivers. We can talk to our husbands. We can talk to the doctors. We can contest on political positions. We can read drug restriction.
Thank you. Well, I think we are all very impressed by the achievements of this literacy group that was established following participation in one of our programs. I would like now to invite you to move to another area of our work, adult learning and education more broadly. And this is truly a theme which UIL helped to shape from the beginning. And to actually take you through this journey, we have prepared a short video on the adult learning and education and the contribution of the Institute to this field. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you Mrs. Anna Karin Johansson, Secretary General of the UNESCO Commission, UNESCO National Commission of Sweden. Sweden has been a strong supporter of the work of UNESCO in the field of education, and in particular also supportive of the work of the Institute in the field of adult education in particular. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank Sweden for its strong engagement, the partnership, the support it provided not only to the Institute, but to the cause of adult learning and education globally. So I'd like now to give you the floor, Mrs. Johansson.
Thank you so much. Dear host and organizers, distinguished minister, dear colleagues and friends, thank you very much for the opportunity to extend my very best wishes from the Swedish National Commission for UNESCO in this 70th anniversary of the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning. Good quality education is a human right, and it empowers us to enjoy other human rights. In providing systems and opportunities for lifelong learning, it is the responsibility of all states to make sure that no one, including women and girls, are left behind. While access to education opportunities continues to grow more equitable, women still make up a significant majority of adults that lack basic literacy, as we also have seen in these films. Here, the UIL has played and continues to play a central role in supporting policy development and strengthening the capacity of states and civil society. The UIL has, throughout the decades, championed the importance of lifelong learning and adult education, and Sweden is profoundly proud to have been a partner to IUL. Through lifelong learning, we gain the knowledge, skills, and values needed to live, work, and adapt in the modern world. Wicked problems such as gender inequality, climate change, poverty, mass loss of biodiversity, and undemocratic advancements are all interconnected and threatens the very foundation of our societies and how we live our lives. We must build a strong foundation that can be basis for systemic sustainability in all parts of our societies. And quality education is the most important component of that foundation. Skills that are needed in the labor market are not separate from the skills we need to be empowered as citizens. Through close cooperation between governments and the social partners of the labor markets, adult education can be developed to be a central component in strengthening employees' position on the labor market during the course of their careers, as well as their possibility to take part in the democratic system. Because adult education is also a cornerstone of democracy. Good quality education, both formal and non-formal, includes the development of skills such as critical thinking, media and information literacy, and collaborative thinking. These are skills which are important both for the functioning of democracy, but are also vital for modern labor markets and a sustainable transition. And here I want to stress the importance of non-formal adult education. One example of that is the Swedish, what we call in Sweden, the folkbildning. That is the collective name for the activities conducted by the country's folk high schools and study associations in the form of courses, study circles, and cultural activities. All learning opportunities are not one size fits all, so it is important to offer different pathways for learning. And every year, over 1 million Swedes participate in these folk building activities. I've done it myself many times, and many of my friends and family. And all parts of the Swedish society are taking part in this, including vulnerable groups that may be far from employment, such as persons with short previous education, immigrants, or individuals that with different disabilities. The importance of adult education and the role of the UIL in supporting its implementation has recently been reaffirmed through the Confintea 7 Marrakesh Framework for Action. The participants of Confintea 7 were clear in their commitment to quality education, quality adult education, and now is the time for implementation and action. We need many different ways to do this, and we have to do it together. So let me close by thanking UIL for a close and constructive partnership between Sweden and the Institute that stretches back many decades. Sweden remains one of the largest funders of the Institute through a multi-annual flexible support to the UNESCO major program on education. And from the Swedish National Commission, I am convinced that the continued guidance of the UIL is needed in order to see how we, as member states of UNESCO, best can put the right to education into practice. We all have different national contexts, but at the same time, our goals are the same, as are many of our challenges. So let us work together continuously with these issues. And finally, I also want to say happy birthday.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Johansson, for those warm and encouraging words. Also for recalling the rich experience of Sweden in the field of adult learning and education, which continues to be a source of inspiration throughout the world. Thanks also for stressing the importance of adult learning and education for gender equality, which continues to be a major one of the two with Africa main priorities for UNESCO and also for the work of the Institute. I'm now pleased to pass the floor to Mrs. Mary Malunde Watugulu, who is Deputy Director of the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology in Tanzania. Mrs. Watugulu worked with us closely on improving and promoting adult education in her country. She is also involved in our work in strengthening the quality of adult educator training programs, a work that we are doing with the close cooperation of DVV International here in Germany. So Mrs. Watugulu, it's an honor to have you with us virtually. Please, you have the floor. A little technical problem with the connection. So I suggest that maybe we move to the next chapter of our afternoon.
Hello?
No, I see that Mrs. Watugulu is with us. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I've said congratulations and happy birthday to you. I'm talking from Tanzania, Institute of Adult Education. On behalf of the Institute and Tanzania in general, we congratulate the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning to celebrate this special anniversary. It is indeed 70 years of achievement. Our country, Tanzania, is one of the beneficiaries. We have many years of cooperation in these 70 years. As you have said, the importance of adult education for Tanzanian. In Tanzania, adult education is very important. The government is working hard to ensure that education is realized to everyone, adults, young adults, disadvantaged groups, and all those who in one way or another missed education through formal schooling. The government commitment is to have a literate and informed society for improved livelihood and sustainable development. Currently, the importance of adult education in Tanzania has focused on addressing challenges facing adults, young adults, and disadvantaged groups, and the women in the community. Such challenges include illiteracy, changes in science and technology, rapid change of societal needs, and unemployment among youth. To address these challenges, different programs have been initiated, in the country, like integrated program for out-of-school adolescents, complementary basic education, and others. Such programs have been beneficial in reducing number of street children and unemployment among youth. There is also new program like community learning centers. We thank UIL and the DVV International and the government of Tanzania to start such a practice so that we can as well complement the efforts of the government. We at the Institute, we have a mandate to train facilitators in the program of adult education. Our students or learners, those ones coming from formal education, we train them programs for adult education. We provide a certificate, diploma, bachelor degree in adult education. And most of the learners, as I've said, are in service teachers from primary and secondary education. I will not end this presentation. I would like to share some impact of the Confiteor Fellowship. In this celebration, we cannot forget to make the congratulations to the UIL for the capacity building which is making. I also participated 10 years ago in 2012, and we did some elements which are policy, governance, financing, participation, inclusion, and equity and equality. On my side in Tanzania, we were concentrating on improving towards achieving quality facilitators. And this is what we are working forward. Again, on the curriculum global, which we have just started, we thank the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning, DVV International, and the expert, Professor Katarina, with the others from UIL, who are dealing all the efforts to make sure that the curriculum global is introduced in our country so that we have that competence to our facilitators. And we are looking forward to implement the Marrakesh Framework for Action, whereas, as we have said, we have had in the other presentation, we are looking forward for the transformation of adult education and especially professionalization in adult learning and education. Thank you very much. Happy birthday, UIL.
Thank you, Mrs. Watugulu. Thanks for your word. I must say that UIL is proud also to have been engaged now for several decades with Tanzania, supporting the development of education in general, and in particular, the promotion of adult learning and education. So we very much look forward to continue this cooperation, and congratulations to you also for all the achievements made. I would like now to continue, I would like us to continue our journey, and I would like to take you to another phase of the work of the Institute through the UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities. We already mentioned this network. Hamburg is a member of this network, which comprises now over 300 cities, from Hamburg to Bogota, Shanghai, Marrakesh, and others, which are all cities with a strong commitment for the promotion of lifelong learning for all. So please enjoy this video that will take you through many of those learning cities throughout the world. Ahora tengo el agrador de presentar a Martín.
Now I have the pleasure to introduce Martín Gil, Mayor of the UNESCO Learning City of Villa Marina in Argentina. Mr. Gil, thank you so much for your strong engagement in the global network of learning cities. We look very much forward to your intervention and to learning more about your learning city and how it benefits from the network.
Good day to all of you. From our country, I would like to, of course, greet the director of the UIL, David Atuele. Of course, also like to greet all of the authorities who are here, the Assistant Director General of Education of UNESCO, all the people who are connected through different platforms. We, as a city of learning, as a learning city, the first learning city of Argentina, would like to share our thoughts on the importance of this program in our cities and in the context of our communities, the importance of learning. The UIL's network has allowed us to focus on our public policies and to focus on the development of individuals, the wonderful experience of learning, and to help people transform their lives and transform the communities through education. Of course, in order to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals on a common pathway working with the private sector and the state, and of course, to help our citizens who are the people we are working for in the first place. This network has been a very valuable experience, an experience of exchange. It has been an opportunity for us to learn as well. It has been an opportunity to discover that in a world that is used to conflicts, to problems, that learning is an opportunity to bring us together. It is an opportunity to find new ways of agreeing, of reaching consensus, and of building a culture of peace. In 2016, the city of Villa Maria was recognized by the UIL as a city of learning, and we were able to receive the prize in the city of Cork in Ireland. We renewed our commitment since then, and we were also the hosts of the first meeting in order to create a network of cities in Latin America and the Caribbean in the area of learning. We have also helped to foster a network of learning cities in the Republic of Argentina. We are coordinating that right now. Up to the moment, we have had 7 cities in Argentina that have joined this network. In our case, we work, for example, in access to education for young children, to access to universal learning for the population of Villa Maria, to enable us as a community and to reduce inequality, to create more opportunities, and to enable an integrated approach for our citizens. That is why in our city of 100,000 inhabitants, we have more than 60 education rooms for early education from 45 days to 3 years of age. And also in our work towards literacy, we work with adults, not only through formal education, but also through informal means of education. Because learning does not have any borders. It does not know distinctions of age. We wish to create a society that is integrated with more opportunities for all. One constant factor has also been our desire to celebrate education, to share the joy of learning that transforms our lives, because learning transforms our lives. And we have turned this into a great festival, which is called Villa Maria Lives and Feels. This opportunity of celebrating as a city, as a community, the importance of education throughout our lifetimes. We would also like to recognize the relevance of education beyond schools. Of course, schools play a crucial role, but learning takes place in every aspect of a person's life in a community. In our access to cultural goods, in our quest for work, in technology and innovation, in entrepreneurship, in sports. In each of these dimensions, in each of these areas, and it is this transversal nature that is so crucial for us as a city and for our policies. We have also launched a new program a few days ago, which we called First Books, where libraries will reach every child that is born in our city of Villa Maria. This is an ambitious project to promote reading and access to culture for everybody. We want to develop education as a city, because most, of course, of humanity lives in cities. And so we have to promote formal education, informal education, in order to fulfill the Sustainable Development Goals as a city, as a country, and as a planet. The UIL has allowed us to reach these goals, to know that we are not alone, to know that we are part of a wonderful network where we can share experiences, where we can work together, and where in every corner of the world we can see our common goal, that is learning throughout our lives. I would like to give my special thanks once again to Raúl Catera Valdés, who has been a constant pillar in our cities, in Argentina, in Latin America, of access to education. So, happy anniversary to the UIL. We, of course, state once again our commitment to be protagonists in this network and to achieve these goals that we have.
Muchas gracias, alcalde.
Thank you so much. Gil, thank you so much for your presentation. We have understood that concept, and we are really happy to hear about the experience of Villa Maria. Education is a very important tool for social cohesion, to strengthen communities, and also to foster the culture of peace.
Side of the work of the Institute with Learning Cities, and I would like to invite you to listen to one of the adult learners in one of the member cities of the network, the city of Dublin in Ireland. Pat Fitzsimmons has benefited from the strong lifelong learning programs put in place by the UNESCO Learning City of Dublin, enabling previously youth with a low level of literacy, as he was, to learn at a later stage in life, and as you see, to really show that lifelong learning is truly transformative. So we have pre-recorded his intervention. So please, let's now listen to Pat Fitzsimmons.
Well, my name is Pat Fitzsimmons. I was born in the year 1962. I have a background of no education. My experience in life was when my first day of school was a very bad experience. I was bullied at school. So sort of after that then I sort of didn't like education. So when I came through the school system and I had a chance to leave when I was 15 years of age, I said to my father, look, I don't want to go back to school. At that time, I got up to secondary school. Now, even though I've been in school all them years, and you might find this amazing how I got through it, when I think back, I don't know, I couldn't read. And I wasn't a great student at all. And to be honest, back then, the teachers, if you weren't interested, they just left you alone. So when I got the chance to leave school at 15 to work in a factory, I started off with Janelle. That was a place back then in Finglas that gave a lot of employment to a lot of people. And from there, then I got a job on the building site. And it was on the building site really that I got a break. How I got a break was, I was working with plasterers, and they noticed I was very good with my hands. So I started to plaster. I got a chance to be apprenticeship and then become a plasterer. And of course, through that then, that helped me earn me living and to get by. But when it came to the likes of forms, signing that like that, or dealing with banks, I couldn't do any of that because the fact is I couldn't read, I couldn't spell, I couldn't write. So that was a major challenge and an embarrassment. It's something I didn't want people to know, but that's just the reality of my education and who I was. The only thing that got me through school that helped me in some of the classes that I did enjoy was art. And art was something that I was good at. I knew I was intelligent, but I just didn't like education. But as I was getting older, I knew that reading was important. And I said, I have to try and get to learn how to read. And I didn't learn to read till I was 18 years of age. And I started to read. And as I started to read, it opened up a whole new world for me. I got to the stage where I couldn't do any construction work anymore. And I had to change, well, what am I going to do now? So what happened was I went to night school. And what I did was I took up the art again. So I went to art classes, and there was a girl who was teaching art there. Her name was Karen. And she said to me, "You're very, very talented." She said, "You ever think of going to art college?" Now, when she mentioned the word college, I says, no, art college is not for me. No, I wouldn't be able for art college, Karen. And she said, "Why?" And I explained to her, I said, "Karen, I can read, but I can't spell." But she said to me, "Don't let that stop you. You'd be well able for art college." So I ended up going to night classes. And through the night classes, I went to RDT and I studied art. It's called art. I went to the support and I explained to them my whole background and how I got to college. So they knew my education was very little, but they were very, very supportive. So when I explained to them my fears and the pressure put on me, they understood me. And then, of course, as the years go on, they got to know me. They got to know my strengths and my weaknesses. And when I needed them, at the time of my weaknesses, they were there. Because I was on low income, I got financial support because one of the things I had to do, when you think about my background, I had to fill in forms for the Susie grant. And so I did get support. And that day, they helped me to fill out the forms and then send off the grant. So I wasn't on my own. And that was the most important thing to me, that I didn't feel alone. Yeah, well, when I graduated, I found it amazing because I thought that was the day that wasn't going to come. That was the day that I thought I'd never see because I was going to be a dropout. I was convinced that I was not able and I cannot do this. But the encouragement from the college and from the tutors was so great that they got me. I tell you what they did to them, they made me believe. Not in the education, but in myself. They made me believe, Pat, you have the ability. You can do it.
Merci, nous arrivons avec
Thank you very much. With this testimonial by Pat, we have reached the end of this afternoon, this celebration of our anniversary. So what is left for me is to thank you all for being here, and thanking also all the colleagues and partners that are online, connected online all over the world. And of course, I would like to thank once again the Federal Republic of Germany for its continuous support ever since this institute was founded in Hamburg. I would also like to thank Sweden and Norway, who have supported us over many decades, have helped our work, have promoted our work for lifelong learning, but also all the other member states and partners who have always been there to back us up and to support the Institute's work. There are so many partnerships, institutional partnerships with the academic world, with research all over the world, and with other institutions who promote lifelong learning, and you have seen it. There are all these 300 cities of the global network of learning cities of UNESCO. That's a new development when it comes to promoting lifelong learning. But I would say that this is also the seed of a more democratic kind of education and of a true participation of citizens in the local life, thanks to lifelong learning and education. I would also like to thank our UNESCO colleagues. The UIL is part of UNESCO. We cooperate, and obviously the Vice General Director for Education, and I would like to thank her and her predecessors, also the members of the governing board.
Previous members over the years. I would like, of course, to thank special thanks to the staff of the Institute. The staff is, the essential really element for the achievements of this beautiful institution. I would like also to, have a special word for the our former colleagues who are no longer with us, but some of them are with us in the room, and I would like also to, thank them for their contribution. I would like also to say a word for my predecessors, the former directors of institutes, and in particular, I would say in recent times, Arne Carlson, Adam Awan et Paul Bélanger, qui ont, dans les décennies récentes, ont été des artisans vraiment de
who were the true craftsmen of the promotion of the Institute with the support of all the staff of our Institute.
Say that this is it's a day of celebration, but it's not the end. It's the end of the first chapter of this gathering. But I'd like to remind you that we have a second chapter tomorrow that will take place fully online, where we will actually look more in depth, not only in the achievements, but maybe more importantly now, we will look forward and see what are the new developments and the new areas of focus for the Institute for the years to come. So I invite you again to join us all online tomorrow for this symposium. For those who are here in the room, I would like also to invite you now to the reception, which is prepared. We will cut the UIL birthday cake right after this closing. I would like also to have a word for the interpreters who have been with us today to facilitate really the communication, for the technicians also who supported and ensure that this online connection worked quite well. And of course, a warm, thank you to all the speakers who gave testimonies of their experience and partnership with the Institute. So again, thank you very much. Please, for those who are in the room, join us for the reception, and for all of you here and also online, I very much look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thanks again.